Hi everyone, my name is Anette Pilmark and I have a company called Spousecare where we work with spouses that come from all over the world. They travel with their partner to Denmark, so I have the pleasure of meeting and working with people from many different cultures in my everyday work. It goes very well hand in hand with the topic that I'm going to talk about tonight, cultural intelligence, also called CQ. I always had a big interest for culture, especially understanding what makes different cultural exchanges either successful or not successful. What prevents us from understanding each other and how can we be better at communicating. So tonight I'll talk about cultural intelligence, but first let's define culture. So what is culture? Culture is everything. It's the way we say hello, it's the way we meet, like tonight. It's the way we eat, with knives or forks or with chopsticks, or it's also what we eat. It's the traditions, the values, the norms that is the glue in our society. So when you look at this picture, I hope that you can tell me what country we are in. Yeah? So let me hear it. Denmark, that's true. When we see the leverpostejsmad and the remoulade, fiskefilet med remoulade, then we know we are in Denmark. But when we look at the next slide, and if we just look into different ways of transportation, there are many different ways we can do that. So transportations, food, the way we dress, it's all something that's very visible. It's artifacts. It's easy to see when it's different. But what about all the stuff that we can't see? All the hidden codes, all the unwritten rules, how we think, how we communicate, how we understand each other, and how we perceive each other. That's difficult when we meet people from other cultures. And sometimes cultural misunderstandings happen, and when they do, it's a real shame. So the definition of cultural intelligence is the capability to function effectively across various cultural contexts. And that's important because we live in a global world where culture doesn't know any borders. It's not enough that you speak a foreign language. It's not enough that you know about the culture. You also need to be able to adapt into different cultural settings. So when you meet people from other cultures, if you're going to work in teams where there are many different people, you need to be able to adapt into multicultural situations and conduct business across cultures. 70%, that's the number of international ventures that fail due to different cultural differences, And that means if a company wants to expand and make business cross borders, there's a high risk of failure only due to cultural differences. When we look at people working together in teams, research shows that diverse teams with team members from many different cultures actually perform higher than homogeneous teams. However, that's only when the team members have a high CQ. So when companies and company owners want to do business across borders in other countries, they're looking to hire employees with a high CQ. But it's not only important for the companies, I believe that it's important for all of us. So if we look into what defines CQ, cultural intelligence, what is it, how can we measure it? There are 4 capabilities. There's the CQ drive, the CQ knowledge, the CQ strategy, and the CQ action. So tonight, since these are short talks, it's only going to be an appetizer, and I'll only take you through the first 2 ones. So the first one is the CQ drive. This tells you something about a person's interest, curiosity, their willingness to adapt into different cultural situations. So in other words, you need to be able to step out of your comfort zone to take a chance. If you go to China for a business meeting and you are invited for a restaurant and you are given chopsticks, and if you immediately ask to get a knife and a fork, then what happens? Well, for one, you are probably not going to learn to eat with chopsticks, but also you are not showing a great deal of interest to do it their way. So you need to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. One way to test your CQ drive is to reflect on how you would react if you're served a dish you're not used to. So here's a question to you. How would you feel if I were to serve you a nice meal with snake? Yeah. Thankfully, a high CQ doesn't request or demand that you eat something you don't like, but it's the way that you react to it. It's whether you say, no, I don't want that, or if you're willing to give it a try. So in short, you could say that if you find, if you think you can learn from other cultures and you find it funny and interesting, then you're already good on a good way to improve your CQ drive. So the second parameter is the CQ knowledge, which is about a person's capability to understand different cultures and see where they are similar and where they are the same and where they are different. And does this mean that you have to be an expert in culture? No. The point is not to be an expert, but to acknowledge that there's more than one truth, that there are other ways to do things than the one you are normally used to, and especially to be able to see things in another perspective. So to see things from a perspective other than your own. So the good thing is that everyone can improve their cultural intelligence. So what can you do? Well, for starters, you can talk to someone you don't know, maybe from another culture. There's plenty of opportunities here tonight to do that. Don't be afraid to make mistakes or fail. All educational research shows that it's by failing and it's by making mistakes that we improve our learning. So the first step is get out of your comfort zone, avoid stereotyping, and despite what your parents told you, you really, really, really should talk to strangers. Thank you.